met a new advisor in my office. She was from Beverly. As we got talking, I learned that she grew up in Montserrat, right off of Essex Street, and I said, hey, that's where my grandparents grew up. That's where, my aunt lived. And we talked about, Pisani's. I don't know if you remember that store, and we shared the same kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Ward, at Hannah's school. And I told her, hey, my maiden name is Foley. Maybe you know my family. Bill Foley? Is Bill Foley your dad? I said, he was my teacher. I loved Mr. Foley. And this, as you can imagine, was not the first time that I heard, Bill Foley is your dad? I love Mr. Foley. Students, teachers, athletes, anyone that met him. But we're not here to talk about, my dad being an outstanding teacher, vice principal, police officer, father. We're here to talk about my dad being an amazing coach, and that he was. I even had the pleasure of my father coaching me throughout my volleyball career, through high school and college. My dad knew nothing about the sport of volleyball, nothing. He didn't know the difference between a pass, a set, a spike, but as my season went on, he coached me. He didn't need to know the sport through and through to coach. He just had that natural ability. I would see him in the bleachers at my games. He did this weird leaning thing. He laid down on the bleachers, and I'd look up and he'd just be observing everything. He wasn't the one cheering, kicking the bleachers, banging, clapping, whatever. He just sat there and never said anything. Had his chin in his hand and just looked. Again, he sat silent and only gave feedback when I least wanted it. But everything he said was right. It was spot on. My dad had it in his blood. He was born to coach, to be a leader, and to motivate. And that he did pretty damn well. At just 22 years old, as we've heard, 1974, my father established the Beverly soccer program. Coach Foley led the Panthers to 7 state tournament appearances in 9 seasons, including a trip to the championship game in 1978. Beverly soccer, as it stands today, is due to the standard that my dad set over 40 years. Thank you tonight for everyone here, the committee, to Todd Lambert, and the microphone for not banging down, for honoring my father tonight. I know he is here in spirit. I wish he was here to see this, but I'm glad he knew that he was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So thank you in honor of my mother, my sister, and myself. Thank you.